You know the rest of the sentence. Okay, so here she is. Yes, she's black, and yes, she is beautiful. I am not the biggest fan, and I don't know, I think the gentleman who owns this instrument is not like the biggest fan of black instruments, but he just could not turn this one down. And he got a really good deal on it, okay, thanks, Brandon. And I am going to play this, and I'll show you what I'm playing it through. So he, let's see, it's an RB model. And forgive me, I haven't done enough research on this. I just know that this thing needed a setup after he purchased the instrument. And he brought it to me, and he usually brings his basses to me to do just basic setup work. It's a Rapture, that's it. Okay, or Rapture. By the way, this yellow piece of tape is what the guy that did the work on the neck left on the headstock. So I just thought I'd leave it there for you to take off of there, Brandon. And just so y'all know, the gentleman Brandon in the stream is the owner of this instrument, and he's one hell of a bass player. And our city is lucky to have a guy of that caliber living in our presence and able to play. I played in bands with him, and we've had a lot of good times together playing music. It's interesting. So it's a Rapture. Now, let me just share with you, we talked a little bit about this when this stream got going, and if you know anything about Pedulla basses, or if you're from the Pedulla webpage or Facebook group, and hopefully you are, you have to be, as you all know, if you own one of these, if you own, and I don't play like Brandon, so this is my policy with him, is I have him come into the shop and play the instruments, and I don't know if he's working today or not, but I literally just got done working on this thing, so I want to let it sit and check it again tomorrow. But the instrument came into my shop, and it needed the truss rod turned. It was a banana neck, and the photograph that is at the beginning that is for the stream, that is a picture of this bass, and I'll just show you. That wasn't the string action. That was the amount of banana neck, meaning it was bent like that when he got it back. So the truss rod was literally totally loose, but he brought the instrument to me. So the photo on the cover coming in, so I have the instrument done like this. So I'm pushing down at the 17th fret and have the first fret capoed. And that gap that you see between the bass, the B string and the frets is how much this neck was bananaed. So anyhow, just so you have an idea of where I started. And these are the strings that were on the bass when I got it to my service. So as you know, Pedulla did the Dulcimer hammer truss rod wrench thing. And, I don't want to, there's a lot of people that kind of disagree with that decision, and I'm one of them, because that is a very weak spot. And if your truss rod is sat for quite some time and it kind of gets locked up, that end will break off of there. And that's exactly what happened on this one. And I did everything in my power I could do to try and get that thing to work, and we couldn't do it. So Brandon, bless his heart, I was extremely busy at my shop fixing guitars and amplifiers and such, and we decided the best policy. He found a guy, and I think he found him on Instagram, and that could repair this. And it's called Goodson Guitars, or Goodson Guitars. Goodson, Goodson Guitars. And he had commented that he had repaired several of these basses these instruments. And so Brandon sent the instrument to him and had him replace the truss rod in this instrument. So now, before the truss rod was replaced, this thing was utterly worthless because you couldn't straighten the neck out, and it was so bowed you couldn't get good string action. We all know the deal with, if you're here and watching this, you probably know how important that part of the instrument is. One of the most important adjustments you can have on any guitar or bass. And it's interesting that, I'm gonna go into this just briefly, is that Martin is still building guitars without truss rods. They still sell brand new guitars without truss rods. And I find that utterly disgusting, and I would never buy one. So that's my take, and I've been working on guitars my entire life. So if you're gonna buy an instrument, buy one with a truss rod. We've gotten, the nut was not on the instrument, so I had taped it to the body, and so I put the nut back on it this morning, a couple of tiny drops of CA glue at the end of the fingerboard. Goodson Guitars pulled the fingerboard off the instrument, routed out the middle of it to make the new dual action truss rod, I believe, fit in here. And I took my fingerboard leveling tool and put it on here and leveled out that fingerboard. And it just, the truss rod works perfectly. This thing responds. The moment you move it, it responds and reacts. So very tiny movements on this truss rod will move it. And that's what I like to see in an instrument like this. And then so I got the neck relief set properly, which was a whole huge problem with this instrument. Then we did the string action here at the 17th fret, and I'm using 5/64ths. We may lower that a bit. We probably can, but I'm going to start off there. And Brandon and I kind of have an agreement that I get it where it's right, and then he can take the instrument home and plug it into his amp, play it the way he plays it, and decide if he wants to move the string action. And I'm perfectly comfortable with that. And I would rather have a guy that I work for be able and willing and mechanically inclined enough to make those adjustments with confidence that he's not going to mess something up. And he's been, we just did that with another bass of his, and I don't know if he's tweaked it or not. I haven't heard back on that one yet. But nonetheless, we've got I feel like very low string action. After we got all of that done, check the first fret action, and it is low on this thing. I didn't even measure it. I don't have to. It's low enough that if we go any lower, we're going to run into first fret buzz, probably. And then we intonated it, or I intonated it. So I'm going to let you hear this instrument, and I'll show you what we're playing through. And forgive the little stutters. That's this computer that I'm working on. It's got problems, but I'm hoping to solve that here soon. So this is the amplifier that I'm playing through, right? And let's see, we're going to go dead center, both pickups, volume and tone. It's got, let's see, treble, bass, pickup, blend here. Let me make sure you can see this. Treble and bass, pickup, blend. So it's dead center of the pickup blend, and volume, master volume. And these pots are all super clean. There's no clicking. None of them. They have a detent. The tone, or the treble and the bass and the blend switch all have knobs, all potentiometers, I should say, all have a detent at the center point. So that's really cool. And I'm just cranking everything at this point and leaving the pickups dead center. And we're playing through the dark glass. Now, this amp does have a little bit of grit on it, so I'm gonna clean it up. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see that. Forgive me. Here's the amp that we're playing through. Let me float this window so we don't have all this extra stuff going on here. So this is the amp that I'm playing through, and I'm going to go in through here. Let me find, this is kind of, this plugin is basically designed for guys that want to play with some distortion on their amp. Let's just, I don't, Nolly get good. Let's see what Nolly's. Okay, not very loud. We're going to turn this up. And I'm not a real fluid bass player. And the other thing that I need to do here is I need to, let's see, I'm going to turn this on. And then I want to run this bass into this aux input. Yeah, that way we'll have the, you're not going to hear the bass through the microphone, right? So it's compressing that. We'll roll the treble all the way off. Roll the treble back up. And I'm going to bring the drive down a little bit on this. All right. Yeah, that sounded pretty darn good. Let's turn the distortion. Maybe just turn the distortion off. He's a pretty solid dude. That's a pretty nice bass tone. This is just a preset, so I'm not terribly worried about it sounding all that godly. Let's check the speaker, the cab IR. So we got the 52 and then a dynamic 57. You know, if you wanted to brighten this up, you could move these mics around. These plugins are really, really versatile with regard to that. So this is the way the bass. All right. Now we'll roll this to the bridge pickup. Neck pickup. Back to center. Roll the bass all the way off. Very, very active. Yeah, very, and it does. This instrument does have active pickups. Takes a 9-volt. I put a new 9-volt in it today. So what I'd like to also do here, I'm going to play along with the backing track just to kind of see, you can hear what the instrument. Now, I believe this backing track has a bass line in it already, but I'm just going to play along with it with this bass just so you can hear what this thing will do in a mix. Because, you know, you can listen to stuff all day long and playing guitar by yourself, but when you don't know what stuff really sounds like until you have it in a mix, right? Let's see. So, yeah, we're looking good. I'm just going to push play here, and I'll play along with this. I can't remember. I think this one's in the key of D, I think. So we'll get some. bass player. But this thing, man, oh my God, I wish you guys could hear this. So this, you can hear the bass line in this backing track is yeah, very nice. You know, it's not terribly loud in my headphones. This is the first time I've ever played a bass line to that particular part, so forgive my playing. I'm not the world's greatest bass player by any stretch of the imagination. If I have time to work with something, I can compose a pretty decent bass line. Progression. What do I have written down? What is this? A minor to A major. So it's an A. I'm going to stop torturing you with my terrible bass lines on that, but hopefully. Thing sounds fantastic, plays really nicely, man. This thing really has, I like the string action. I could probably lower it just a little bit. Knowing the gentleman who owns this instrument, I could probably get away with a little bit more string action. But that's what we did. And again, a huge shout out to Goodson Guitars. I don't know exactly where they're located. Brandon, if he's still here, might be able to tell you. I know he's a very busy guy and he has a very, very important job, and we don't need to get into that. He's the last person I want to ever need when he's working. I'll leave it at that. I never want to need his help while he's at work. At least one of the, how many jobs? 8 jobs? Only one job? Let me put my glasses on so I can read some of these comments. I've got my screen is way up. Oh, he's out of Texas. Okay, so if you guys are interested or you ever need work done like this on on an instrument where you might need a truss rod replaced, this guy did an absolutely fantastic job. Hello, Ed. Trimmer. Very good. Cool. Good to hear. Yeah, I was not doing a very good job of hanging with that last little groove. I could solo over it if on a guitar, but playing bass lines is not my area of expertise. I'm just trying to give everybody a taste of what this thing actually does. Let's see. Did I unplug it? Yeah, there we go. And another thing is that I may decide to put a new output jack. It's an output jack. It's not an input jack. So just so you know, stop calling it an input jack. It's an output jack. If you put sound into that, it could be brutal. Oh, and yeah, let's talk about that, because that was another thing. Let me. I'm just using this wireless thing to make it easy for me to move back and forth from my bench here to my computer, so I could test things while sitting there. It was really easy, not have a cable strewn all the way across my my room here. Makes it very simple, and the finish work on this is absolutely. I mean, you really cannot tell that this fingerboard was ever removed from this instrument. I mean, there's nothing there's zero consequence from having that done. He did an absolutely fantastic job on this. And I mean, I suppose if you had taken video of every little millimeter, very slow motion video of this before and after the work, you might see something. But I'm playing it, and what's more important? Does it look good, or does it feel right? That's my statement to that. And it is black, so no matter what you do, Brandon, the finish is going to look terrible. But unless you do this after every song, you have to take your clean. I'm joking, brother. I have fun about that. I am not a fan of black finishes on instruments just because they get fingerprints on them. But yeah, the work that he did on this, Brandon, I mean, I'm second to none. It is just fantastic. There are no marks, no Mars, if there was anything on this beforehand, he may have cleaned it up, in fact. So, yeah, you can't tell. And you cannot feel, there's no cheese grater frets or any noticeable discrepancies. And it feels like probably the day this bass was made. So this guy did a great respect to Mike Pedulla, and I wish him the best. Of course, I hope he's doing well and enjoying a life outside of the bass building world, because he built some good ones. This thing is no exception. This thing is sweet. It's really been a pleasure to play, and I haven't really played it much today. I'm sorry. I know there's little clicks that are happening. That's just computer. I'm not going to mention names. It's just that this thing. I've got. Hopefully, the manufacturer of the computer is going to help me get this problem sorted out. Yeah. Oh, Tremor. Yeah. I have a Yamaha 4-string short scale. Yeah, I love the short scale. Yeah, you see that Ibby, that Sunburst Ibby. So. Yeah, dude. So Brandon, probably, I would like to wait until tomorrow to give this back to you, just to let it hang. I'll store it as you do at home overnight. Let this neck do any kind of shifting or movements. It hasn't had string tension on it for quite some time, so there's room for error, I suppose, at this point. I may need to adjust that truss rod every slight little bit. So and we've done what I've done just so guys that know how to set up instruments and the dimensions. I did 10,000ths of an inch of neck relief in the center portion, and that's fretted at the 17th fret and capoed at the 1st. So out here in the middle of it, there's 10,000ths of an inch of neck relief, meaning bow in the middle of the neck where it bends. Many vibes, welcome. Pedulla, you never seen one of these? You probably own one. Yeah, so I'm going to hang on to it and let it soak up some, soak up some vibes. And we'll just see what happens tomorrow. But I'm pretty confident that nothing's going to happen. However, Brandon, this is something we might want to consider doing. This output jack, let me change the input on this. And again, the buzz, the little dip, the noises that you're hearing, that is from this computer. That is not the bass at all. But the output jack, pretty loosey-goosey. Now, Mike used these types of output jacks that I am not a fan of at all. I don't like these things. They're real discreet, and I understand that, but it's not a switchcraft that you can just grab. Brandon, it's not a switchcraft that you can bend the tabs over to make the jack, the cord fit tight with. So that's kind of an interesting decision that he made. I prefer to use ones that you can adjust you can tighten them up after time. But one reason that he would have used these likely is because of the narrowness, the thinness of this instrument. There's not a lot of room but you could put one like what would be on a, let's just say a Gibson Les Paul, or, not a Strat, of course, but there's definitely room here. And my, I don't know, my SG, Gibson SG has the same type of output jack. Output jack, right? So, let's see. Oh, okay. So yeah. Now, another thing is that when you unplug this instrument with the active pickups, these things are hot. Holy smokes! I have zero gain at my audio interface. This is plugged straight into my audio interface, straight through the dark glass Neural DSP plugin. And it just. That is so hot. It's actually auto muting my I'm going to bring the master volume back on that. That might be actually a little bit too hot. You saw that red line and auto mute. And this thing, yeah, this thing is definitely hot. Let's get this backed off a little bit. I don't want to make this thing so. Now, I am not a popper. I have no idea how to do that. And again, having messed with these. Okay, Brandon. I'll swap this out. I believe that I have a couple of these at the shop, so I'll go down and grab one today and throw that in here. I think that's a good choice. It's just kind of loose, brother. It doesn't take much to unplug it. Um, it's pretty loose. If I don't have to do it, I won't. When I open it up, I'll see. And that's the other thing, is I didn't have to get into the electronics of this thing at all. The thing just, I mean, but getting into the circuit is going to be really simple. Fortunately, this pick guard is real easy to come off. There's no access. Oops, let me switch this. There's no access in the back of the instrument. Let's do this. Yeah, there's no access hole cut in the back of it. And if Pedulla does it, he makes the access hole, this piece of wood would be the actual cover of the access hole. This guy does some of the most amazing construction methods of building a guitar in the world, but all the electronics is going to be very similar to a normal Fender Stratocaster, whatever. So yeah, I have. Thanks for that comment. You know, I have to live here now. My old home was burned down. Let's see, a year ago. Oh, in 2 days, it'll be a year. My 1 year anniversary of getting my home burned down. Don't do drugs, people. Please don't do drugs. And so I've moved into this new place, and yeah, I'm up here up high. So, and it's snowing outside today. So it's many buys all guitars. Well, I've been buying guitars since I was 10 years old. I have gotten rid of a couple of them, but the age of let's see. All the guitars that you can see right now are ones I've never gotten rid of one. These are all guitars that I've owned my entire life. When I was old enough to buy a guitar, that gray one right there was the first one I ever bought at a music store, and then I've had the rest of them. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I really kind of wish I owned one of these, though, because this thing is killer. And the fact that it's a 5-string, good Lord. This thing, obviously, man, it's got some balls. Definitely got some balls. See where we're hitting on our. Okay, so I can bring this up. I'm just checking to make sure I'm not clipping anything, because I want to get this. Here's my, again, here's a plug-in and my DAW, you can see. So I'm not hitting that output very hard, so we're gonna turn the master up. Now we're hitting -10. So let me just play along with another backing track just to see if I can, how well I can hang with it. Let's see, what's this one? G minor, G harmonic minor. Okay, well, we'll try this one. Let's see what this one sounds like. I gotta try it, you know? I gotta. I'm not gonna have this bass in my, at my place very much longer. So, and I got to make sure to test my work. This is the thing that sucks about doing this kind of work. You got to test your work, really. You know. Okay. Man, this thing is so nice to play. Holy smokes, you guys. This isn't fair. I'm going to be sad when I have to send this thing home. But I think I know where this bass lives, so I might be able to borrow it once in a while. Let's see. What a beautiful instrument. So that's pretty much it. So this bass, again, it had the truss rod repaired, replaced, and it's just and set up. And unfortunately, my friend who bought this instrument, he got it and he brought it to me to set up, and he really didn't get much of a chance to play it because the setup, I believe, at that point in time was pretty terrible, if memory serves correctly. Because when I put the instrument back, he brought it to me with the neck put back on the bass, and when I put the strings on it, the string action was about like that, and I ain't kidding. It was like, wow, super high. I had been smoking some of the ganja, probably. So anyhow, that's the story. And I'm really happy with the way this thing turned out thus far. It didn't take a ton of work, but sometimes it's the tiny little things that we do that make the small amounts of work really worthwhile. And especially when you're working on an instrument of this caliber, and for a player of that caliber, you just don't want to be messing around, and you want to do stuff right? So if you did come to this channel from the Pedulla Facebook page, welcome. Thank you for dropping in. Go ahead and feel free to subscribe. I don't have a huge YouTube presence, and I probably never will. And I'm fine with that. I don't ever intend to I probably will never make any money doing it, but it sure is fun to be able to share the knowledge that I have with folks. And I'm really proud of what I do. Wow, that thing sounds so good. So I'm going to do a little bit of just noodling around here. I've got to, might as well, what the heck. So let me show you what I'm doing here. Just another little learning trend. Again, this is the Archetype Petrucci plugin. It's got a wah pedal here. So if and it's got a compressor here that you can compress your signal and get tons of sustain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the wah pedal on and off. I'm going to program this. So I'm going to hit my parameter button. I'm going to go learn, and I'm going to tell it to turn on and off with my MIDI channel 4. I have a Live Logic from Blackstar on my floor, very inexpensive MIDI controller, and it's plugged in via USB to my computer that I'm working on now. So now when I step on number 4, the wah pedal, you can see will turn on and off, right? Isn't that cool? It's just like a real guitar amp, right? Like you got a pedal board sitting in front of you, almost. So now we need to make this part treadle pedal. It's called a treadle. That's what I call it. So we'll go to parameter and we'll go learn, and then I'll use my, hang on. I think my pedal it's not close enough for me to move it. So now I'm going to move my treadle pedal, and it's going to be set to absolute, and we'll just hit OK. And so now with my treadle pedal, right? Isn't that cool? And I can turn it off just with the push of a button. Right? So now I've got a whole bunch of reverb on this, which I don't really like the reverb sound. It's way too much decay, and it might be a little bit too wet. Yeah, still, and the delay's on, so we'll bring this reverb back. That's a little better. All right, so I'm gonna program the reverb to turn on and off. So I just hit the button. The last button you push, you go up here in Reaper, and you hit parameter, and you go learn. And I want to turn the reverb on and off with pedal 5, and you got to set it to toggle, not absolute. Absolute's like you're going like a machine gun, right? So you hit OK. So now when I step on number 5, you'll notice, I think, yeah, the reverb turns on and off, right? Okay. Now the other thing I want to do is, let's see, I'm going to set this to sync. And I think, let me see if this is, okay, so I have it set to sync. And what I'm going to do is, so that I can tap tempos, what I have to do is go to my actions list. Let me turn off my volume. And I'm going to go show action list. And I'm going to say tap tempo. And I'm going to select that. And I'm going to say run. And I'm going to close this. So now when I tap on number 2, you'll notice that the tempo up here is changing. I think it is. Oh, it was. Anyway, so that's how you do that. And then we want to turn the delay on and off. So I'm going to make that turn on and off with channel 1 on my pedal board. So I'm going to go learn. Come on. Whoops. Learn. I'm going to hit 1, and then I'm going to make it toggle. And I'm going to say OK. And then let's go ahead and turn the chorus on and off. I'm going to go to parameter, and I'm going to say learn. And we're going to turn chorus on and off with number 3. And we got to toggle just so it turns it on and off. So now when I hit that button, we'll hit OK. It turns on and off, right? We got delay, delay's off, reverb's off, wah pedal's on. All right, let's play along with the song. We'll see what kind of ripping, shredding guitar solo I can do. We'll see. Let's flip this window. I need to set this up. I need to customize it. I just got this. Oh, and here's the other cool thing. Let's do this. We'll go. I did this. Here's another cool thing that this thing has. This transpose option. So. Probably ought to tune my instrument. Okay, so now what I have to do, now you're hearing the guitar through the microphone and you're hearing it transposed. So I need to check my send, and that should be going to send to track 2 vocal pre-fader. So let's go to this vocal track and new receive. Let's delete the bass send, and then, I think I got to turn the compressor back on. No, it's there. So let's try this again. Maybe I need to drag this into here. Is that right? There we go. So now it's muting my voice. I like it. So when I play, you're not going to hear the nastiness of. Here we go. Let's try a backing track. This one's actually in C. And I can't remember what this thing sounds like, but I'll be playing it in E, right? Because I just cross-tuned my guitar down. Whoa, hey, stop. Oh, I know what happened. Okay, so I know what happened here. Let me go back. Let's set the BPM back to, I think, 120. Okay, this is fun. So, okay. So now what I have to do is go into Reaper. Hang on, let me project settings. Let me set this to time. No. Beats, position only. Okay, I think that's it. Now if I tap my tempo, no, it's still, let's undo that. Hang on. I'll figure this out. Oh, let me show you what I'm doing in here. So what's happening is when I step on my tap tempo button, it changes the tempo up here. And I'm doing this because in the Neural DSP plugins, if you use the tap function on it, you set it to toggle, it will not toggle. And that's a glitch in either Reaper or the Neural DSP plugins. I don't know which, but you tell it to toggle, it doesn't. It just goes and it flickers like a ultra light speed. So what I'm doing here is I'm going into my project settings and let's see, I think I need to set this to time. Time-based tap tempo. I can't remember. Let's just try this. I can't remember. Now if I tap on my tempo button, yeah. Now that the length of my, you can see that the BPM changed, but my music stayed the same length. So let's try this. See what happens here. Enough of that. That was kind of fun. It's nice to have the ability to have all these kinds of cool guitar tones and like have it sound like that. I hope it sounds the same to you guys out there in StreamYard world. Hopefully the audio is working good. And I really appreciate everybody hanging with me for a little bit today. Takes notes. Yeah, many vibes. You're asking some really wonderful questions. I plug into an 18i20 Scarlett. It's a Focusrite product. It has 8 analog inputs. In fact, you can kind of let's switch this view. You can see it. Forgive the light. I can't do a whole lot about that, but that's it right there. So my guitar is plugged in literally right here. And then the bass was plugged in through the wireless thing right here. It goes into my computer, and in my computer, it goes into this channel right here, which is input 1, right? Set to input 1. And then on input 1, I have the Petrucci, where'd you go? It was sitting over here. I have this guitar amp sim that I can make sound in a multitude of different amps and such. And that's what you and I are hearing. With respect to the MIDI controller that I have on the floor, let me see. I think I can, yeah, I got enough room. Now you're going to get dizzy. Here we go. Don't get sick. Let's do this main view. Okay, so here's my foot controller, and I'm wearing slippers, right? So if I step on one, my delay, here, I'll kind of give you an example. Right, there's delay. Now the delay is gone. Right? If I want reverb, I think, yeah, the reverb's not terribly wet, but if I want chorus, I've got a chorus effect. And with this button, hopefully you can see that. So, you know, delay, or, right? So basically, and then my wah pedal. So that's how I'm doing all this stuff. And it's not a terribly huge, I mean, I say that, I can say that it's not terribly expensive. It's not that much money. I don't have a whole ton of shitload of money invested in all this stuff. And most of it has been purchased over time. And I don't buy something unless I have the money to pay for it. If I don't have the money to pay for it, I don't need it. I don't ever use a credit card for anything, ever. So, thus I can't buy anything with credit because I don't use it. I'd be a perfect person to have credit, but they only give credit to people who abuse it and have, you know, but that actually take care of this. So you have to use credit in order to, anyway, long story short, I think a lot of people are making huge mistakes. Let's see. Let's get into this. Where's my plugin at? Where did it go? Here's my. Again. You know this. I've got the transpose function. -4. Yeah, addicting. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily addicting, but it's definitely fun to be able to do this. And, you know, and just truth be known, my neighbor's bed, I live in an apartment building. My neighbor's bed is about 2 feet from Well, from where I'm sitting right now, if I could go 5 feet that direction, I'd be sitting on their pillows on their bed. And I'm not kidding. So, yeah, that's how I do it. I do highly recommend that, if you want to go this route, definitely buy if you're a guitar player or a bass player, the Neural DSP amp sims are, I believe, second to none. There are a lot of them out there that are second to none. They all sound pretty bitchin'. Most of them anymore. And, having said all that, I could take my laptop and my little Scarlett 2i2 to a gig and my MIDI controller and my wah pedal, and I'd be able to play through this stuff at a gig, at a bar, right? And how do I hear myself? Well, I own a little powered monitor. So as long as I can get my stuff into my monitor, I can hear my guitar. And I'm never that guy that's too loud because my guitar amp isn't pointed at the crowd where they're getting their faces blown off. If you're playing outside or in that type of environment, by all means, put an amp up on stage because you need that reinforcement to hear yourself. But if you're playing at a bar or anything, having an amp on stage is actually pretty foolish. So yeah, hopefully maybe that'll inspire you. I don't know. If you want to get one. And it's kind of cool because the band that I play in, our drummer just got an 18i20. He got a 3rd gen. This is a 2nd gen. And the only difference between the 3rd gen and the 2nd gen is that the 3rd gen has a loopback function on it. And that's all fine and dandy. However, what's interesting about that, this device, and I want to thank Jam Pro Sound for hipping me to this. I never would have thought of that. But this thing has a SpeedIF, SBDIF in and out. So if I want to record like music from a YouTube video, I can just route my SpeedIF into a track, SpeedIF 1 and 2 into a track. And I just ran from SpeedIF in to SpeedIF, or SpeedIF out to SpeedIF in. So there's my loopback function. So there you go. So, and these things are used on the internet. They're anywhere from $300 so they're not terribly expensive. And they have 8 analog inputs and then 10 digital inputs. So you can actually run 18 channels into this thing. So you can mic up an entire band, including the drum kit and all that stuff with 2 of them, I suppose. So that's kind of cool. Charlie, welcome, brother. Good to see you. I hope you're having a great Sunday. I'm having a good old time. And also, another little thing that I've had going all day on this plugin, and this is kind of cool. The Petrucci has this doubling effect. So I've had this doubler turned on. So if I play my guitar, it should be, it's high gain. Let's go to a cleaner amp. This should be, woo, my guitar's way out of tune. Let me fix that. I can't stand a guitar out of tune. There we go. Charlie, you got here just in time to listen to me tune my guitar. Listen to that. I got a little aggressive. This guitar generally holds tune really well, and it is due for some new strings. I use Ernie Ball Slinky 9s on this guitar. There we go. So the doubler is on right now. So and you're hearing this guitar in true stereo and in total stereo. But if I turn the doubler off, so it's just a mono. Let me turn the reverb off. So just totally dry guitar. And I'm going to turn this amp sim up a little bit. Give it a little bit of bass and some mid, a little bit more EQ. Here we go. So that's the doubler off and doubler on. Right? So it's kind of fun. And the delay is set to a panning. So it's left and it goes. I mean, this is big. It's really a big stereo field. All right. Sweet tuning. Yeah, in fact, what I can do is my tuner function. So I click on this tuner button. If I want to learn, oh, I think I can. Maybe I can't. Maybe it won't let me. Does it let me? Huh. Parameter. It doesn't let me. Let me see. Learn. Let me see. Does it let me? Rhythm guitar. Let me see. Input gain. Okay. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm trying to see if it'll let me turn the tuner on and off with a MIDI unassign, EQ, clean. Okay, lead amp. Let's see. I don't think I ever programmed the tuner. Volume pedal. Yeah, it's got a volume pedal on this thing also, so you can really do bypass, preset next. Oh boy. So it doesn't ever, so unfortunately, you can't turn the tuner on and off with a MIDI pedal. That's kind of a bummer. You probably can on the standalone version of this. But if you absolutely have to have a tuner, you can add, in Reaper, you can add reattune. Right, and you put it in front of your guitar amp, and at this point you always have a tuner on your screen. So now if you want to tune, you can tune. It doesn't matter what effects you have. There we go. So I've got to get going because I have an output jack yeah, if you use Reaper, man, it's a powerful DAW. It ain't no joke. And if you have a really, really whoop-ass computer, it's even more of not a joke. Now, it's a good idea. Oops. Charlie, that's all right. I appreciate the question. You didn't hijack nothing. I'm just doing my normal thing. And I covered the Pedulla this afternoon. If you rewind a little ways in the stream, you guys should take a look at that bass. It is a fantastic. Yeah, and also I just learned something because of you making that statement about how do you get sweet tuning on it, right? I learned that I can't activate the tuner with my MIDI controller while I'm running the program in Reaper. I can't step on a button and have a tuner. So that was kind of interesting to learn that. So cool. I learned something today. That kind of sucks to have had to learn that, but it's all right. No, I've got to get going. I've got some soldering to do. If you're from Canada, you call it soldering. Soldering. That's how you say it, Preston. Solder. I got some soldering to do. I'm hoping I got the exact right output jack. I may have to order one, but that thing needs an output jack. You don't call it that. I call it solder. Yeah, there you go, solder. Well, you're further south than I am, so that makes total sense. I think so. You're more inside. You're more inside the United States than I am. Is that true, dude? That is so strange. Wow. That just trips me out. I didn't realize that was actually possible. Yeah, soldering. Yeah. Hey, Manny Vibes, thanks for hanging. Yeah, and we're directly at the 45th parallel. Literally, the 45th parallel is, I could drive about 5 miles and there's a sign where the 45th parallel is. There's a band here called the 45th Parallel, in fact. Probably bands all over the world called the 45th Parallel. North of Toronto. Wow, that's a trip. Yeah, I don't fully know the geography of Canada, but all right, you guys, I've got to get going. I got some work to get to. So I hope you all have a truly wonderful day. I need to open up, let's see. Which window is this? It? No, here it is. All right, you guys, I'm gonna get going. Have a really wonderful day. Sunday, I might be on live a little later on. I've got Richard and I have some might have some work to do today too. So peace, y'all. Have a wonderful day.